Hope everyone's having a good evening. Welcome to Master Your Money with Eric Anderson. Waiting on everybody to jump on this live. I know, folks, we missed last Tuesday, so we're back here today. So thanks everyone for your patience. Just want to make sure everybody can hear us and log on today. Um, let's see. Just waiting for everybody to jump on in. So we'll give it some time for it to do what it needs to do. Um, um, Eric, it kicked me out of the other thing on Facebook, by the way. But yeah, welcome to Master Your Money with Eric Anderson. Today's topic is what each generation gets wrong about money, guys. So today we're gonna talk about your baby boomers, your Gen X, your millennials. So if that is you, please drop it in the chat. Let us know, what generation are you? Are you Generation Alpha? What generation are you? Please drop that in the chat. If you're watching on the replay, as you get the chance, please put that in there as well. Waiting for folks to hop on right now. So we're going to give it a little bit of time. Those of you on YouTube, hello. Appreciate you joining us. Those of you on Facebook, please appreciate you joining us as well. So we're going to get started here in a few moments, just making sure that it's able to reach those people out in the media world, in the web world. But other than that, Eric, while we're waiting, how have you been, sir? How have you been? What's been going on in your world as now it's about to be April approaching? So the deadline for taxes to be filed are coming. How's your week been week by week?
So I don't know if a lot of people know, we've been out the last two Tuesdays because my mother was sick and she passed the last Tuesday, not this last Tuesday, the Tuesday before. So we canceled obviously on that day. And I thought I needed to take a little bit of time. So I was out last Tuesday as well. I've still been in the office, but I thought I'd kind of take a little break as far as this is concerned. So it's good to be back. Um, again, so like you're asking me how the last couple weeks have been, it's been very rough. Obviously, I was
Okay.
very, very close to my mother. And so kind of taking it day by day. But we even talked about not doing it again today. But I felt, and I know she would want me to keep on going and doing what I'm doing. So I just thought I'd jump back into it. So like today, we're just gonna talk. I just feel it just feels good just to get back into it. So
That's good. Thank you for sharing that, sir.
but other
Really
than
appreciate
that, it's been obviously been very busy as well with like I said, tax season. We got basically a little over 2 weeks left. So that's kind of been consistent, except for the days that I obviously took off to mourn with my family and stuff like that. But we're trying to get back into that as well to try to wrap up the rest of this year, at least to the 15th. So we're doing a lot of extensions and stuff like that. A lot of clients are understanding. So they're calling and we're setting up extensions and stuff like that to try to get this done here by the end of the month with a lot of clients. So
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Prayers to you, sir, and your family. Again, I know I shared it offline, but you know, um,
and I do
my
appreciate you showing and honoring. I do appreciate that again. Yeah.
no problem, man. No problem. Definitely wonderful service. I really enjoyed it. How they honored her was so amazing. So it was very powerful to see that she was such a light um, in everyone's hearts and minds. And so it was amazing to good to hear that and just seeing everybody. So your dad and just 50 something years, right?
Right.
To be able to have that was really just amazing. To witness that. So really appreciate it, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Yep. So
Um,
so yeah, so we kind of decided like at the last minute, I think like Monday. I don't even think I sent out invites or anything like that. So I just wanted to just get back on and just kind of talk, just kind of get back into the swing of things and stuff like that. So we'll probably just be talking today. But again, like I said, this is more therapy today. So we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So those of you listening in right now, please let us know what your hearts and thoughts are right now. If you ever experience anything like this, please reach out. As this session is a very special session, we're coming out of this, going through this uh, time and definitely want to support Eric through this, and we're all here for you. So if anything you need to take a break or do anything like that, please let us know, and we can do that. We're definitely here for you. So thank you for showing up again. I know a lot of folks have missed you. I know a lot of people are wondering like, where's Eric? We missed him. They're like, they don't know what's happening. They're just kind of calling and they just want their taxes, right? They want taxes. They want financial planning. They want you to do your books. They want all these different things. And it's like, meanwhile, there's other stuff going on in the background. So I
Correct.
appreciate you.
Yes, I
Um,
really tried not to talk about it a lot unless I had to move some stuff around or whatever. I would tell them. But the thing that keeps me going and the reason why I'm here
right.
today, like I said, so many people when they come in, they'll start asking questions. They'll say, "I'm watching your videos." We laugh because obviously me and you talk about a lot of the stuff that clients say to me. They say that they're making decisions off of watching the videos. And I'm
Yes.
like, "I didn't even know you were watching the video." And they're like, "No, we're really truly watching the videos. We have our kids watching the videos." And they talk about how so much of the stuff that I say is true and it helps them make better decisions and stuff like that. And it's interesting because, again, like I said, we joke around about it, but I'm not really here to demean or talk about or talk down about a lot of the videos that we share and watch, stuff that we know makes absolutely no sense or is not true. We know a lot of stuff that we see on, we know a lot of stuff that we see on social media is just clickbait. Um, and it's really tragic because a lot of these people are taking people's money because they're trying to convince you to do something that in the end makes absolutely no sense. Which, if we get to it, we are going to talk about some of the stuff when we say what a lot of these generations get wrong. Um, we're really misinformed, and we're listening to unqualified people who are just trying to sell you something, and that's really really tragic. And that was one of the reasons why we really started to do this is because um, just to kind of spread information because like I said, I get so many phone calls and so many people sending me videos and saying, is this true, is this true, is this true? And then I have to respond and explain why what it might be a little true or it might be completely untrue. So then I have to explain that to people. And the more and more I kept saying that to clients, more and more people were like, why are you not doing videos? Why are you not teaching this? Why are you not doing that? And I always kept saying, because the people on social media, they don't want to hear what I got to say. They want to hear the person who tells them they can get your credit fixed and get all this money, even though that is not going to help you. In a lot of cases, it's not. It's going to get you in more debt if you don't have a plan with your money. If you don't have a plan, if I gave you $250,000 today, it doesn't mean you're going to be successful. And if you don't believe me, look at all the people who got these PPP loans, EIDL loans, SBA loans, and stuff like that, and are worse off. Look at Pinky. She got $1.2 million, right? She got $1.2 million, but she's a boss. She's filing bankruptcy, and part of the bankruptcy is the SBA loan that she claims she can't pay back. I don't want to go there with naming people and stuff like that, but it's stuff like that because again, this is what the kind of stuff that people send me.
Yeah.
And they're like, Eric, how is that possible? How is that true? It's because we believe that if somebody just gives you a bunch of money or fixes your credit or does all these things, you're automatically going to be successful. But if you have absolutely no plan on what you're trying to do, or if you have a business that isn't making money today, just putting more money in it isn't going to make it more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing is, since let's jump into it. So let's talk about the stuff that generations get wrong. Like we were saying earlier, about baby boomers. There are so
Yeah.
many people in their 50s and their 60s who are trying to figure out how to have another form of income in retirement. And because, like we were saying, back in the day, so to speak, people were getting pensions. So you were getting a guaranteed check. If you worked at a job for 30 years or whatever, you'd get a pension. There are so few jobs that are like that anymore. Just, the city, the state, military, things like that. Teachers, I get a lot of 1099 Rs from people who are teachers, people who worked at the state, people who worked at the city, people who were in the military. They get retirement checks and stuff like that. But a lot of people, especially because you're switching jobs and stuff like that, you're really not even staying any place long enough to get a pension. They're really having to live off of their 401ks and things like that. And so they're worried about being able to retire because their check is going away. And so they fall for things like watching the videos of someone telling you you can get this IUL and borrow out of it, and you're going to get this huge check in retirement, until you see the prospectus and they talk about the type of money that you have to put into it in order
Yeah.
for that to work.
Yeah. That's
You
good,
can have
man.
that conversation until you're sitting in front of the person who has to show you the prospectus to show you how much money you have to put in it before you can start borrowing money out of it. Basically, having to front load it and all kinds of stuff like that. Or it has to grow in order for it to build up all this money into it. The
Yeah.
same way a Roth works, the same way a traditional IRA works, the same way a 401k works. Anything that you are that you're doing time value money and compound interest, though IULs are not the only thing that works like that. Anything works like that. If it is giving you a rate of return, it's going to do that. It's going to have compound interest. It's going to have time value money that's going to grow. But for some reason, everybody gets infatuated with being able to borrow out of it, and it's still sitting in the account. That's the big thing that they say. But when you look at the amount of money that you got to have in it before you can start doing that, it's hard to say that that makes sense. So I see you still in there, but I don't see your picture. I don't see your deal, but I see you're still in there. So
Yeah,
there you
that's
go.
good. Yeah, I'm here.
So,
It's just can you see me?
so that's
Yeah.
yeah. See.
All right,
So
cool.
that's really a big misconception that you see with a lot of baby boomers and stuff like that when we have these conversations. Um, and like I tell them, not to be rude, but when you're in your 50s and your 60s looking around for insurance, anybody who knows how insurance works, your age and your health are a big deal as part of what your premium is. We're not even talking about the money inside of it that's growing. We're just talking about the premiums to be able to and so it's not, if you're getting insurance at that age, you're just basically trying to have money for somebody to be able to bury you. You're not really looking at it as a retirement plan. Hopefully, you should already be doing other things way before we're talking about it from a retirement point standpoint. So, again, when I have these conversations with a lot of quote unquote baby boomers, that's the big thing that they talk about is, I'm thinking about doing an IUL. What do you think about an IUL? You know,
Yeah, man, this conversation, those of you tuning in, please let us know what generation that you are. If you're a baby boomer, if you're Generation X, if you're a millennial, a zennial, generation with Generation Alpha, Gen Z, all right, Gen Z, please drop it in the chat. Let us know where you repping as far as your generation. And, when you're talking about this and we see online, and we discuss it a lot of times, was like money conversations are louder than ever right now, especially in our economy, what's going on. But the what you're talking about earlier is like the understanding is still not where it needs to be, right? The understanding about the IUL and what that really means. And if you're 60, that's probably not the best route for you, right? So the understanding is still low, and every generation believes it, like they have it figured out. Like you said about the pensions, and if I just do this, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna do that. And Roth IRA wasn't around back then, right? In the sense, was it earlier, 70s or something like that, late 70s. Yeah,
78,
but
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
78 or something like that. So looking at the 80s until it really started to like carry. carry on. But notice that there's some blind spots that in
Right.
each generation that can limit our wealth. And so, especially this tonight's conversation, that we want to make sure identify those blind spots and correcting those blind spots, and say, well, I know we talk about like, well, it's not about blame, it's about awareness and better decision making, because sometimes we can feel guilty about what we didn't do, and now we're years later and we didn't prepare as well as we thought we did. And so but yeah, I just want to bring it over to you, Eric. Let us know if you can break that down, starting with the next generation. That would be great. And what you see as far as the blind spots.
So I'll call both of them, I don't Gen Z, whatever. But the next generation, a big thing that you see a lot is people are really big on credit repair and getting money. Even though we are in so much debt, there's so much credit card debt, there's so much loan debt, unsecured loans and stuff like that. But we are so fixated on fixing our credit and trying to get as much money in loans and credit cards and stuff as possible, because again, we somehow think that that is our gateway to being successful. Again, if somebody we're under the impression that the reason why what I'm doing is not succeeding is because lack of money. And I think we shared a video where, you can like them or not, but like Dave Ramsey said, it's not lack of money, it's lack of cash flow. And if you don't understand the difference between that, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. But if you want to break it down, I will, because I've done it before. But I can give you $1 million, but if my business is blowing money like a sieve, I'm eventually going to run out of that $1 million, right? Because I'm living off of that $1 million.
Right.
But if I have a business that's profitable every month, I don't need to borrow money. I only need to borrow money if I want to grow the business. If I feel infusing more money into that business is going to make me more profit. But if
Yeah.
my business isn't profitable, just me putting more money into that business is not going to make the business successful. Again, you would sit back and say, yeah, that makes sense, but for some reason it doesn't. When you see all these people who are trying to get all these loans and doing all this stuff, you kind of sit back and you're like, do you understand that if I have a business that is not successful and I don't have a plan with this money on how I'm going to turn this money into turning this business around and making this business profitable, all you're doing is prolonging. Instead of shooting this horse, you're trying to heal it. You need to shoot that. You just take it back and just shoot it. But we don't want to give up on our business. We don't want to give up what we're doing. So we just continue. And again, it's one thing if it's your money, but you're borrowing money, you're getting credit cards, you're getting line of credit and things like that because you believe that's going to help your business. And worse off, because of us watching these people who we think are bosses and our heroes, watching them so flippantly use the word bankruptcy like it's like shutting down a bank account, like it's absolutely nothing to file bankruptcy. So a lot of people have that in their head. A lot of people say, if I get in too much debt or whatever, I'm just going to file bankruptcy because they make you believe that if I file bankruptcy, everything's wiped away and I can go right back like I have an 800 credit score in 2 months and go and just continue my life and keep it moving. It doesn't work like that.
Mhm.
And as you can see in what's going on with two very famous people, just saying I'm filing bankruptcy does not mean you're going to be able to file bankruptcy. It's not automatic just because I say I'm filing bankruptcy. And like I said, I was going to do an article today. I'll probably put it out tomorrow. But like I was saying to you today, did you know that if I fraudulently get business loans, credit cards, because I'm lying on my application, I know you people doing credit and telling people you can help them get all this money. If it is found out that the application you fill out is fraudulent to get these credit cards, to get these line of credit and stuff like that, they can contest that. because they can say you got that credit, you got all that stuff fraudulently. So they can contest that and say they're not going to remove it from your bankruptcy. But so many people believe that, again, to me, it should be common sense to you that if I go to the bank and apply for a credit card or apply for something and they only give me a certain amount of money, and then somebody comes up and says, I can get you way more than that, and it's going to cost you, you should say to yourself, what trick are they doing besides lying on my application? Because if I really had good credit, if I really had profit and loss statements, if I really had all those things, I don't need anybody to help me get those things. Correct? But that's
Right.
not the case. So you go to these people to help you, so to speak, get you something that you're not qualified for. Because again, if you're qualified for it, what do I need you for? It's like somebody saying to me, it's like the funny one about trying to say that down payments are illegal. I can show you how to go into there and not do a down payment. I can tell you too.
I can tell you too.
Yeah.
I've done it plenty of times.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've done it.
Of course.
Like you put in down payment, and it's interesting because it's like when you walk in there and you know, like it's a different approach depending on where you at. Right? Like they're like, you want to put something down versus like you need to put something down, right?
So again, that's not a flex to walk around and say you're a fool because they're demanding you make a down payment. Trust me, if you got great credit, they ain't gonna ask you for a down payment because they believe they're not gonna have to come repossess your car later on.
Mm-hmm.
So we act like it's a flex to tell everybody I can help you go get that car and not have to pay a down payment when you don't understand the reason why you have to make a down payment is because you have a horrible track record on paying things back. That's why matter of fact, that's why I'm talking to you, because I got to help you fix your credit because you have a horrible track record on paying money back. That's why you have bad credit, right? How do you get bad credit? Because I don't pay my bills. Because I don't pay my bills.
You can pay your bills on time. Hold up, let's on time because you can have all the money and just be irresponsible, right? And pay it late every time.
Or in the case of these famous people, choose not to pay it. Hey. Apparently, if I'm rich and making all this money, but I'm not paying sales tax, or I'm not paying 941s, or I'm not paying my employees, or I'm not paying the rent, but I'm rich. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't even make any sense. But people are like, no, that's a choice they're making. They're just going to file bankruptcy. And again, you just shake your head. And what's worse, a lot of people who are out here who claim they fix credit, who claim they can help people get all these loans, have bad credit themselves, cannot get loans themselves, are not profitable themselves. I don't know what class you have to take or what degree you have to take in order to say I do credit repair, which is part of the problem. So, which is why you see everybody and their mama saying that they do credit repair. Just like when I'm sitting here watching, everybody does taxes. Because let's just be honest, there is no actual course that you have to take before you can say you do taxes. There are CPE credits and stuff like that that we have to take if you are licensed and all that stuff. But for somebody just to say, hey, I do taxes, you don't need to take any courses. You don't need to do anything. All you got to do is pass a background check. And if you don't do that, then you go on Free Tax USA and file everybody's taxes and they say self-prepared on them. But you're still out here doing taxes. And because you're saying you're getting people all these huge amounts of returns and stuff like that, everybody runs to you until they get audited.
That's interesting because if you think gonna get a return, you got to pay thousands of dollars.
Correct.
Right? Like, why would I go to you so I can pay you so I can pay? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need the best possible person to do this, so I could
Correct.
pay less. Make sure I'm in order. I know I'm going to
IRS
pay.
is looking for
You
me.
know
Yep.
what I'm saying? But I'm not
Yep.
expecting to get a
But
return.
sadly, we don't. Again, you're so enamored. His video, social media star. He's an absolute star. But are
Mm.
people actually really and truly going and getting your taxes done from him? Like I said, I don't even know if I don't even know if he does, if he actually is a tax preparer or if he's just their spokesperson, because again, he's drawing people in there because they're entertained by that. But is it professional? Does he look, they're out there twerking in the parking lot and stuff like that? You really and truly think that person is professional and really knows what they're doing from a tax standpoint? I mean, we can get mad all we want. You know, I'm on that today. Cool. But Isaac, you can't be surprised if you get out. Like I said, somebody sent me something. It said the IRS was like, we're declining your ERC because we can't find any 941s or anything in your records showing you paid anybody. You're going to send that to me because I did your personal return. I'm like, why are you sending this to me? I know I didn't do I know I didn't do the ERC for you. I did your personal return. You do not own a business, but you went to somebody who said they can help you do this scam. And now the IRS gave you this money. Now they want the money back. And now you're texting and emailing me like you think I did it. You know I didn't do
Mhm.
that. You know you went to somebody else who did that scam with you, and now that person isn't answering the phone. It isn't going to go to the IRS with you to try to explain to the IRS why they created some 941s showing that you are paying people in order to get this credit. Or a person who's getting a PPP loan and then they pull out the Schedule C and say, "Can you explain your business where your business made all this money in 2019 and now it makes no money in 2020, but your 2019 did not have the Schedule C in it, and the original 2020 you filed did not have these businesses." Again, I know from experience the IRS was here and we had that conversation. They were here because the original return I filed had no businesses on it. You amended the return and showed you had all these businesses to get all these PPP loans. So
Hmm.
again, it's like the old saying goes, you know just enough to be dangerous. And that's what a lot of people who do taxes are. They know just enough to do the scam stuff. Like you saw the videos at the beginning, even if you're not working, if you're just sitting at the house, you're doing hair in the house and all this and that, I can get you these huge loans because they know how to work the Schedule C to show just enough income to get the earned income credit along with the child tax credit and stuff like that. Again, it's fraud. It's fraud, but they know just enough in order to get you those returns. And then when you get audited, that person's out because again, when you look at the return, me and a whole lot of other tax preparers will tell you it says self-prepared right on the return. But again, you don't care because you come into someone like my office and I explain to you this is the max you can get in your situation, and somebody says I can get you way more. And sadly, people walk out of this office and go do that, and then like I said, then I get a text with you sending me the stuff from the IRS saying you're getting audited because you turned in some fake 941s and there's no record of pay stubs, W-2s, or anything like that on these 941s you turned in. And you're
Yeah.
sending it to me like, Eric, I didn't do anything. I did not do that. Why would I risk my business? Because I got a legitimate business. I'm not doing taxes on the side. I have a legitimate business. So I'm going to risk my business to help you get some type of scam. Like the young man, me and him had the conversation when he got mad when I said, dude, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. No, dude, I have business. No, you don't. You don't have a business. You don't have a business. This person did all this paperwork for you to get you this EIDL loan. And when they start auditing everybody, you're going to be in trouble because you do not have a legit business. But again, you're not going to listen to someone like me because again, I'm not saying what you want to hear. It's the same thing when people come in and say, so and so said they can get me this huge amount of money on a line of credit, or they can give me this huge credit card. And when I say why do you need that? They can't respond, but they go and do it. And they pay this person all this money to do it. It's like, Isaac, you wouldn't believe how many people who have money who have had the conversation on the American Express card. And they say, Eric, why would I get that card? I don't need that card. I have a Costco card. I have a other such and such type of card that I get all these rewards and all these points for. Why do I care about having an American Express Platinum card? Because apparently that is some huge flex. Again, that is, if I got an American Express card, it means I got money. That's what people think in their head. But the main people who are trying to get that card, again, can't afford the $900, the annual fee of it. The people who come in here and say, is it true that if I go buy this car, I can write it off? Yep. But can you afford the payment? But the person in the video said it's a free car. I'm gonna let that marinate for a second, Isaac.
No, I would say the free car. It's definitely not a free car. Well, then they say, well, I think that's just the misinformation. But like, oh, you get a free car, and therefore
Correct.
you can just write it off. And
You
I
just
was like,
write it
how is it
off.
free if I paid for it?
If I'm paying for it and it's not dollar for dollar. Again,
Regardless of where it came from.
anybody who's doing taxes for 5 minutes knows there's a difference between taxable income and tax liability. You've done taxes for about 5 minutes. You know that if that $100,000 write-off is not saving $100,000 in taxes. Anyone who's done taxes for real knows that is not the case. But again, the person, he's sitting on top of the Lamborghini, or he's sitting on top of the G-Wagon, or he's sitting on top of that and he's flexing. And because he's saying what you want to hear, you believe it. You believe it until like I said, until the car gets repossessed.
Yeah.
Because you can't make car payments because you have a business that's not making the money to be able to make the car payment, to be able to do the oil changes, to be able to change the tires, to be able to change the brakes in that car. You're so focused on this person telling you, I can get a free car, and not having a conversation and really and truly thinking about it. It's like, because like you said, you would say to yourself, that doesn't make any sense, but you still take the course.
I mean, when you think about this, Eric, who are the folks, like, are they older folks? Are they, when we talk,
No,
we got
younger generation that we're talking about now. Now we're talking about the younger generation.
I'm just saying, like, do you see there's a common, huh?
No, now we're talking about the younger generation. This is who we're talking about. Yep.
The younger generation. So I don't know what's after, was it Generation Z, right?
Yeah, it's Gen Z, the millennials, right? Yeah. This is the generation who walks around in InvestFest and says to people, would you rather have an 800 credit score, $10 million? And everybody
the 800 credit score.
And they say, yeah. And they say, why? Because I can do whatever I want to do with an 800 credit score. You dumb ass.
Yeah.
Excuse my cussing. I'd rather have 800 credit score than $10 million.
I'll say, yeah.
Misconception on money. And if anybody watching, if you do not believe me, YouTube it. YouTube it. Hey, watch all of these young kids walking around and InvestFest and places like that with a microphone and walking around and asking other people, would you rather have an 800 credit score or $10 million? And watch what they all say.
Wow. Wow. When you said that, I started thinking.
It's like, I don't mean to cut you off. It's like going to the Lamborghini place and walking in and saying, I can get any car I want because I have an 800 credit score. Good for you. Can you show me some W-2s that show you can pay for this car? I got an 800 credit score. Can you make the payments? And even if you are somehow able to drive off the lot on it, does that mean, is your 800 credit score going to keep on making the payments every month? But again, when you say what is our misconception about money, that it's thought processes like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's good.
People
That's
think
good.
that's their thought process is I've got to get great credit. And again, I'm not mad at you if you're somebody who's teaching these courses and saying you can help people fix their credit. You're taking advantage of a situation. Instead of asking yourself, why does everybody you should really sit back and say to yourself, why does everybody have bad credit? That should be the question you should be asking yourself is
Oh,
why are all these people signing up to get their credit repaired? You've obviously got to be living a certain type of way where you are living above your means, or sadly, as we're saying, you're making the choice to not pay your bills on time.
I,
So now you
when you
want
said
somebody to fix it for you so you can go right back to doing what you were doing. And worse, a lot of times you're bragging about somebody helping you get something that you really and truly can't afford.
right,
It's like somebody going and getting a house and being house poor. We were talking about a client that you referred me to. Remember, I told you she was here today. She's renting out her house. And what did she say? All these people are coming in here with fake W-2s, CPNs, all kinds of stuff. So you think you're getting over if you're able to move into a house you can't afford, and now you're going to be house poor and get evicted. I told you the client earlier, they own like 5 or 6 properties. And what did I tell you? They had to evict like 2 or 3 people because they could not
yeah,
pay the rent. But you scammed, lied, did whatever you could do to be able to move into that place that you couldn't afford. And now you're getting evicted. But you think it's cool to lie on these applications to get these car, to get the credit card to say I make $150,000 a year, and you don't make anywhere near that in order to get all this credit. And then once you get the credit, you can't pay it back. So now I'm filing bankruptcy, or I'm going right back into having bad credit again, which
Eric,
is
I'm trying
why
to live my life, Eric.
place. Well, okay.
Eric, I'm trying to live my life.
All right.
I'm trying to.
Do
It's
you?
like it's like
Do you?
let me go ahead and just can I experience it? Can I drive off the lot in a Lamborghini? At least I get a little 1 month out of it if I don't wreck it, right? Because most people wreck it in the week, right? So it's too much power. And then let me just live in the house. I want the pool in the back, and the land, or the amenities that the house that comes with.
It's gonna be
Let me
short lived.
enjoy that, Eric.
It's gonna be short lived.
At least for a little while.
It's gonna be short lived. And while we're on the subject about a misconception, now that it's on my mind, and I always plug him. If you guys get the opportunity, he's changed up his format. It's called Pocket Watching with JT. So now he's doing the bankruptcy breakdown, right?
Mhm.
And it's about people who we consider wealthy, who make a lot of money and stuff like that, and they end up filing bankruptcy. The interesting part about it to me is when he breaks down, because you can see anybody's bankruptcy paperwork, it's public information. You can see why people are bankrupt, what they're not doing. And it's always amazing to me when I see certain people who jump up and teach these courses on how I can show you how to not pay any taxes like wealthy people, right? Those videos you see all the time, right? Well, wealthy people don't pay taxes. That's what they say all the time, right? People with money, they don't pay taxes. We're the only ones who pay taxes. Wealthy people don't pay taxes. Come to find out, Isaac, it's kind of true. The reason why it's kind of true, wealthy people don't pay taxes. They try to get rid of them in bankruptcy. Again, I'm not going to name the two people I already named, but when they went to file
Wow.
their bankruptcy, what was their holdup?
They didn't file.
They haven't filed taxes in years.
Is
And
it?
if you watch JT's when he's breaking down the other people, you'd be amazed what a huge portion of their debt is taxes. But our generation thinks wealthy people don't pay taxes. We think there's some magic trick out here that keeps wealthy people. And what's worse, I'll use Tony Braxton as an example because he uses her as an example. Her accountants should have helped her or made sure she kept money to the side to be able to pay taxes. But somebody who's not a CPA, who's not gone to any courses, done any classes or anything on accounting, finance, or anything, is sitting on social media teaching courses on how to save money on your taxes. And that's who you flock to. That's who you pay your money for your courses for. But the wealthy people who you think are not paying taxes, when they got to file bankruptcy, it shows right on there. And if you don't believe me, again, go there. He does it every Saturday. Who did he do on Saturday? He did Turkey Leg Hut.
Turkey Leg Hut, yeah.
Wasn't taxes one of their big bills? Yes.
And isn't it illegal to not file, right?
Yep.
It's illegal to file, but you don't have to pay it. Like if you owe, you don't have to pay it. You can say, go ahead.
You should at least file it and then try to set up a payment plan or something like that. But as you see in many of these cases, they just don't file.
You don't file, which is illegal, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So a lot of times, especially if you're somebody who's not like a lot of barbers and people like that, a lot of them, if there's no trail as far as getting 1099Ks or somebody's W-2 on you and stuff like that, you think you're flying under the radar and you don't file taxes until you want to go buy a house or you want to go do something where you got to prove to somebody I can afford this mortgage payment. I can afford this loan. I can afford these type of things. So then you've got to produce tax returns in order to prove that you can afford it. But otherwise, as you see, they just fly under the radar. And I even saw people say, how are they able to get these loans and stuff if they're not producing tax returns and stuff like that? And you're like, yeah. And so the people who are now trying to sue them and stuff like that now, it's like, this was a bad investment. Yeah. Because again, this was somebody who's showing you, again, you can have all the money in the world. And again, I'm not here to argue, or you can say I'm hating on this person or whatever. I'm not here to argue about it. At the end of the day, if you're somebody who works at her restaurant or works in that person's company and they're giving you checks instead of direct deposit, I'm just telling you what they're saying. And you get mad at what I'm saying, right? I'm just telling you what they're saying. This is what they're saying, right? But these people are bosses. These people, we're envying them.
I don't want a bounce check. All I know is I don't want no bounce check. If mine was direct deposit, I wanted direct deposit in case something happened. But you can see me a check, feel like it's gonna bounce. I'm gonna put it in there. The bank gonna be like, look, this is no good. We try to withdraw those funds. There's no funds there.
Correct. Or imagine being a vendor or a contractor.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the client tries to file bankruptcy. I've had that happen. Like I told you, it happened to me. It actually happened to me. So I know it's true. I had a client, we did like 5 or 6 years of back taxes, owed thousands and thousands of dollars. Every few months, hey, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay you. And all of a sudden, our office got a letter from his lawyer saying, hey, he's filing bankruptcy and he's putting your debt into his bankruptcy. So when everybody is celebrating filing bankruptcy and that's what Donald Trump does and all that BS that people say, imagine if you were a legitimate business and you had a bunch of your clients who you're doing accounts receivable and stuff on. All of a sudden, you started getting a bunch of letters saying that these people are filing bankruptcy and you can't get your money. You'd probably feel a little bit different about bankruptcy, right? Or imagine, happened today. Imagine I've been working somewhere and I'm trying to file my tax return and come to find out my employer isn't going to send me a W-2. You know someone doing that personally. But imagine that. Imagine working for somebody, they're taking taxes out, all of that. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to work every day. You're handing me checks and pay stubs showing where you're taking taxes out. And then I'm calling you saying, hey, I haven't got my W-2 yet. and they say we're not W-2ing anybody. Do you know how many substitute W-2s I've had to fill out for clients where we had to actually figure out the numbers from their pay stubs and stuff like that to send it to the IRS to try to prove that, hey, even if they're not sending a W-2, they were taking taxes out. So I got to show pay stubs and all that stuff showing that taxes are being taken out. It hits a little bit different, Isaac, when someone is talking about when you're celebrating somebody who's doing this nonsense, when you're celebrating them filing bankruptcy, and you're not thinking about the people who are suffering because they're filing bankruptcy. Imagine being a vendor who's been given all this product, all this stuff to this restaurant, and all of a sudden the restaurant says, "Hey, I'm going to file bankruptcy because I can't pay none of y'all back." It's like it's like having a construction business. You know, construction business works, right? They pay you like in pieces, whatever. So I'm having to pay all this contract labor. So I've already paid all that. I've bought all the materials. I've done everything I need to do. And I'm waiting for a check. Then all of a sudden you tell me you can't pay me. So now I can end up going out of business, right? Because I spent all my reserves to pay for the contract labor, to pay for the materials, to pay for myself, because I'm expecting this check. But this person over here who you are celebrating because they're being like Donald Trump, they're filing bankruptcy. But you don't think about the little people who they're hurting. You're not thinking about the vendors who they're hurting. You're not thinking about the contractors they're hurting. You're not thinking about the employees that they're hurting. And again, you can say Donald Trump does the same thing. Damn it, that does not make it right. Quit saying that. It does not make it right if you're trying to tell me Donald Trump does it. That does not make it right. But again, we celebrate them. And not just that, they do dumbass videos mocking it, making fun of it. Like it's cool to file bankruptcy. Like it's cool to have horrible credit. Like it's cool to not pay your rent. Imagine being the landlord of these places. Like you see all these people say, if you want to make money, what's his name? Nick, right? Nick something. You know, the guy who has his son running around.
Like yeah.
What did they buy? Yeah. What did they buy? A bunch of commercial properties, right?
Commercial properties,
yeah. So imagine having a bunch of commercial properties and all the people in there are doing like these people, not paying rent. And again, real life, I have all these clients who have commercial properties. I have all these clients who have rental properties. And we have these conversations when they say so-and-so didn't pay 3 or 4 months, or it's been empty, and things like that. I'm not talking about videos. I'm talking about real live customers coming in the office to do their taxes and us having these conversations. It's a little different when you're talking about real life as opposed to when you're watching all these people say all this stuff on social media. The Grant Cardone thing with his daughter. I showed that to you, right? I did. Yeah. I did the article on it. You make $200,000, go buy a $400,000 house. First of all, okay. You make $200,000. I go buy a $400,000 rental property. So I'm already paying for a house on my own. So now I take my $200,000 and I go buy a rental property and completely depreciate it out to bring it down to such and such amount so I don't pay any taxes. Are you a real estate professional? What are you talking about? It maxes out at what, Isaac? If I'm not a real estate professional?
150.
And the max is 25,000. The max losses you can write off is 25,000. And again, I do taxes all day. So I know for a fact I'm telling the truth. I do taxes all day. The only way you can show more than $25,000 is if you're a real estate professional. So if you're not a real estate professional, all these people, like the Asian guy who's running around telling everybody this W-2 person and this and that, everybody's in the comments. Are they a real estate professional? Because all you're doing is telling everybody to go buy rental property. But if they're not a real estate professional, you can't write off. I have a client being audited right now because they're arguing that they're a real estate professional. It's real life out here. We're not playing these social media games that all these people who are fake influencers and teaching bullshit ass courses and taking your money. And then we got to go to the IRS for these audits, for these things. but you guys are really and truly paying for these courses and doing this stuff. And if you sat down and had a conversation with somebody who really and truly does these things, who really truly deals with clients, they can tell you it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. And again, if you don't believe me, pull up Chat GPT or read my articles. I'm giving you these articles to help you understand before you go talk to these people or while you're watching these videos. Just pull up the articles. Just pull up the articles. No, the article says that isn't true. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Cool, let's talk about it. Oh, no, I'm talking about? Cool, let's talk about it.
I think the Generation X messed us up.
Correct.
No, he said correct. Because a baby, that's like, he was like, I was looking at it, I was like, I think the Generation X messed us up. No, it's Vlad. Is that your generation?
Because sadly, the young kids today, everybody wants to retire at 40. Everybody wants to ball out, have these cars. They want to go on cruises all day long. They want to go on vacation. Like you said, everybody wants to live their best life. And again, you know why I know that? Because they do videos in G-Wagons. They do videos on vacation. They do videos walking up to private jets and stuff like that. That has nothing to do with you trying to retire. Nothing.
Yeah, right.
That has nothing to do with you trying to pay off your bills and be able to live comfortably in retirement.
Yeah.
They show you a lifestyle. Again, I sent you that article. They said it's going to take $2 million to retire. And the guy from BlackRock said, well over the majority of people are nowhere close to that.
Nowhere near. I think I saw something like that where, yeah.
But we're excited because somebody's walking around standing in front of a private jet or sitting in the airport in certain areas or riding first class or driving a certain car and stuff like that. Stuff that most people cannot do. And taking that person's course is not going to get you there either. Because again, at the end of the day, just because I get you a whole bunch of money does not mean that money is going to cash flow in order for me to live that lifestyle. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why that does not stick in our head. I can have $1 million, but if I'm spending more money than I make, that $1 million is going to run out. I can have $10 million, but if I'm spending way more money than I'm making, I'm going to run out of the money. Point blank, period. Like Dave Ramsey said, it's not about how much money you have, it's how much money you cash flow. Period. A person has a business and you think because you are making a certain amount of revenue or because you've got all this money to infuse into the business, you think your business is successful. But then when you go to do your taxes, the first thing you say to someone like me is, I'm not profitable. It's the first thing come out your mouth. I'm not profitable, so I don't got to pay no taxes. Okay, but do you think you want to always continue to do your business like this where you're not profitable? How long do you think you can sustain that? What, you're going to keep on using credit cards? You're going to keep on getting lines of credit? It's funny, like, right, you know, when you send me the Dave Ramsey videos, isn't that what the people who call in say? I have all this debt because I got all these lines of credit and I have all this credit card debt.
And make $350,000 a year.
But are struggling because I have all this unsecured debt because I tried Airbnb, because I tried Amazon Marketplace. All these things where you see all these people doing all this dancing, like the little girl where she was showing her phone, she's making all this money, and then people come in here and they're like, I ain't making that type of money. Well, you all need to take her course because she's killing it. So what y'all doing wrong? She's lying. That's the point. She's lying. But because you want that, like the Airbnb arbitrage, like the video you sent me, like the guy said, what? Why would you think you'd make money doing that? That was on and popping during COVID, right? That was on and popping. Everybody thought they were going to make money doing that. Look at Pisces.
You got jokes, man. You got jokes. Just to let y'all know, Eric's over here gonna bring that up because I did do Airbnb arbitrage. At the end of the day, I broke even. I was supposed to make money. I broke even, so I got in. Some people really took really big L's, but people are still doing it. And some people are, if you find a good good lick, you can do it, but it's very competitive. So if you don't know what you're doing, you don't got that hustle, you will lose. But
Or like the client who I told you, again, I just somebody's business because I'm not going to say their name anyway, but the client who bought a bunch of rental properties and is having to put all this money into the properties. That's usually my more wealthy clients, the clients who make over $500,000 a year. They have all these properties, so they're able to put money into those properties to upgrade them and stuff like that. But then if you're not a real estate professional, then the IRS is saying you can't write that stuff off. So imagine you're able to do that where I can write all that stuff out without being a real estate professional. So you make under $150,000 a year, but you're able to put all this money into upgrading all these properties. That's not true. That's not true. But they're teaching courses on this. People who, like them young kids who were doing the Airbnb arbitrage didn't even own any properties. But they were teaching courses to teach everybody how to be rich because one video she's in a G-Wagon, the next she's in a Tesla, the next she's in this. And so you're really thinking she's balling. And then she went on the usual suspects, the EYLs, the what is it, $1 million worth of game? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
They're on those shows and they're hyping them up because you're paying $30,000, $50,000 to be on their show. So I'm gonna make you sound like you're a genius if you're gonna pay me that money to be on my show, right? I'm gonna hype you up. And I'm gonna get a cut of anybody who buys the course with the code from you sitting in my thing.
Wow. Yeah, I think about that. Yeah.
Or not. I can care less if you're successful or not. If you're gonna give me like him 500 said, who y'all all think is incredible. What'd he say? $50,000 being an EYL? Run the play. YouTube it. Am I lying? Run the play. Because he knew that if I go on that show and they hype me up and I'm on here and I'm in front of millions and millions of people, I'm gonna make my $50,000 back. Like, even if I don't teach you a damn thing, I'm gonna make my $50,000 back. Like, Jay Morrison,
your own business.
Jay Morrison. Jay Morrison. You get on these shows, you talk in front of these people hype you up. Everybody goes and does like that. I'm not trying to get sued, so I'm not going to call you a thief or a criminal. Yeah. I'm just going to say allegedly all these people say you're stealing their money.
Yeah.
But you go on these shows and all these people believe it. And then someone comes to me and I say, okay, is it worth it to give this man $500? And he's going to give you, let's say he gives you a 20% return on your $500. What is that? So you're going to get $100 every year. Is it worth that to you? Because 20% of $500 is $100, right? My math is right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it worth it to you? And 20% is awful high. Awful high. But because he's saying he can get you those type of returns, you throw money at him. He gets $15,000 to you to give him on average $700, and it works out to $12 million. And nobody's getting their money back.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
It's a great hustle if you can do it. It's a great hustle if you can do it. And then, like you said, and then when it happens, the people just sit back and they say, hey, I got. And like I said, a lot of people are embarrassed and don't want to say anything. Or like if we cut this video up and send it out, a whole bunch of people are going to say he's a hater. You know what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah. We got the comment before that you was old.
Yep.
And that you don't know what you're talking about, old school.
Oh, yeah. You don't know what you're talking about, old school. I'm right. You're right. You're right.
Ain't nobody try to deal with that old dinosaur way of making money.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to do that one too. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm the fool. I pay my bills. I pay my utility bills and all that. I didn't know that there's a trust account linked to my Social Security. I didn't know there was a trust account linked to my Social Security that when I get my utility bill, I just got to sign it and send it right back. Did you know that, Isaac?
So when I commented
on that, you're right. You just an old fool. You don't understand. You need to get off of here and all that. Remember one dude threatened to slap me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. Because y'all are paying for a course from a guy who's telling you there's a trust account where you don't got to pay any of your bills because there's a trust account in your Social Security. And then when we say, okay, can you show us your trust account? It's like the dude who was sitting and was telling people how to get a American Express Black card.
Yeah, the Amex card. Yeah.
And I was like, do you all understand how much it is annually to own that card? You can't just apply. You have to be invited because they're watching, because you got to make a certain amount of money and spend, not just make, you got to spend a certain amount of money in order to get invited to get that card. And then you got to pay all that for it. And then remember, me and him, the guy, were arguing. And I said, what you should do to make it more believable is right when the class starts, pull out your card. What did he say, Isaac?
I don't have one.
I never said I had a card. Oh,
I never said I had a card.
You're taking money from people to teach them a course on how to get a card your ass doesn't have. But I'm wrong right now. The guy who argued with me when he said, I help all my friends and family fix their credit, so I know way more than you. Just because you have degrees and stuff like that, that don't mean you know nothing. You could have got all C's. What the fuck? That's what he said. Remember, we were laughing. We were reading the comment. Just because you have degrees and licenses don't mean you know more than me. You're right. You woke up this morning and said, I'm a fixed credit. So
You're going one today.
Yeah. So you know more than me. I'm sorry, people, whoever's watching this, but these are the people who you are paying. These are the people who you are liking and following. And then when it falls apart, when you see all these people, and again, why are all these people getting arrested, Isaac? All these people who are scamming and doing all that stuff, they're getting arrested, right?
Yeah.
The woman in Houston doing all the tax repair and helping everybody get the PPP loans and doing all that. How many years does she get?
Some years.
But I'm hating. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm hating. But again, you won't take the time to watch the videos and stuff like that to see the very people you all are following and listening to and believing because they're telling you what you want to hear. These people are going to prison. But you come in the comments and say, you need to get your old ass off of here. You know what you're talking about. All right. I know I got enough sense to not take my Spectrum bill and just write my name on it and send it back, and then be surprised when I try to cut on the cable, it ain't working. I got enough sense to know.
Okay.
I got enough sense to know eventually my cable's going to cut off if I do that for a couple of months, or
right.
If I do that with my Blue Bonnet bill, I'm gonna walk around here and the lights ain't gonna cut on. I got enough sense to know that.
But there's people out here give you a little grace, you know.
But there's people out here teaching courses, teaching you how to not think about that, Isaac. I'm gonna charge you real money to learn how to not pay anybody, but you got to pay me. In the words of Eli, y'all are slow. Point blank period. Y'all are slow.
Eric, I know we're at our time right now, man. Do you have any closing thoughts? Anything you wanted to take away right now?
This was therapeutic. If anybody was listening and you didn't or if you commented and we didn't respond, I apologize. Like Isaac said, this was therapeutic today. So we just talked today. But we will be back on next Tuesday. We're gonna go back to doing I think I did a Financial Friday last week, didn't I? I don't remember. But yeah, we'll go back to the Financial Fridays. We're gonna plug, after all that talk, we're gonna have a course. I think June 11th. But I'm joking. But no, but we really are gonna start doing more stuff on Thursdays.
You have a date? Tentative date?
June 11th.
June 11th?
Yeah.
June 11th.
Thursday, the Thursday, the June 11th, or the June 10th. I think it's 11th.
I think it's 11th.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's the date we're gonna start sending that out for people to sign up and stuff like that. I don't even really know. I don't think if I ever charge anything, I'm not gonna charge a lot because again, it's really not to me. It's really not about um, the money. It's more about helping people get educated, really and truly. So I'm not. I'm definitely not charging thousands of dollars. It's not gonna be something where I say it's free and then give you a little tidbit of information and then you got to sign up for the $300 course, the $500 course, the $5,000 course. Like when you see these people say that they're doing courses for $27 and everybody goes that, and then when you sign up, all of a sudden you're having to pay way more money to get more stuff and things like that. No, we're definitely not doing that. Because again, it's more about educating. I know we've been joking and stuff like that, but that's really the problem is that people are not being educated. People are not really learning about finance. And that's where we're lost because we fall for the stuff that we really and truly think is helping us, and it's not. It's not. These people are just taking your money. Again, like I said, a lot of people who say they do credit repair, who say they help people get money and stuff like that, really and truly aren't qualified, are not qualified, to help you do these type of things. But because they know they are saying they're teaching something that they believe everybody wants or needs, that they're able to take advantage of people. So
Okay.
I'll leave it at
Thank
that.
you, Eric. Really appreciate it.
And I really
Appreciate
appreciate
it
it,
today.
dude. It was great to get back into it today.
That's good. Good. We're glad to have you back, sir. On the show. So it's really good. So everyone tuning in, we appreciate you tuning in tonight, this evening. We'll be back next Tuesday. If you have any topics or anything you want us to go over or dive a little bit deeper into detail, or you would like to be a guest on the show, if you would like to be on, you've been watching, like, hey, love the content, love what y'all are doing. Hey, I would love to come on, have a little, conversation. Is maybe there's something that you want to kind of address. Please let us know. We can definitely set that up. Please let us know. And definitely follow on all the social media channels, YouTube, TikTok,
Instagram.
Instagram, and YouTube. So Facebook as well. So definitely go to Anderson Taxes at Anderson Taxes to follow.
Yeah,
So
it's Anderson Taxes on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and it's Anderson Financial. Obviously, if you're here on Facebook, it's Anderson Financial Consultant on
okay,
Facebook.
yeah,
And on the other three, it's Anderson Taxes.
yeah, absolutely.
All
Is
right.
that it?
All right, sir. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank
brother.
you everybody for tuning in with Eric Anderson, Master Your Money.
All right.
All right.
See you next week.
Y'all peace.
All right. It's still live. It's still showing that it's live.